and we will move a little bit more to east. I will talk about the early Iron Age hoards from the area of present-day Slovakia. So far, we know 16 Hallstatt period hoards, including those from the turn to the Latin period. Unfortunately, finding circumstances are unknown for most of them, which reduces their informative value. Nevertheless, they are still an important source of information for solving issues related to the early Iron Age society. And one of them is the connection of people from present-day Slovakia with different regions more or less distant. The largest concentration of hoards comes from the hill fort Smolenice Molpír. It's situated can see? No. I don't know how to. Oh, sorry. It's situated in the Little Carpathians in southwestern Slovakia. The area of the site is about 15.2 hectares and is divided into Acropolis and two other courtyards. It was an important center of power and politics with developed economic activity and religious gulf life, with the high peak in 7th and beginning of 6th century BC. By now, there are 6 hoards from this site known. All of them were found in the Acropolis, and just one of them, hoard number 1, was found during archaeological excavations in 1963. The rest was found by people using metal detectors and given to the Archaeological Museum in Bratislava or just provided for their documentation. The most frequent item in the hoards from Molpír is a sickle. It was present in 4 of 6 hoards, but interpretation of so-called hoard number 5 as a hoard is questionable. The presence of the stone axe, typical for the Baden culture, in the set is probably accidental, and several of them were found on Molpír, which documents the use of this location already in Neolithics. All sickles were made of iron and might be dated to the period before the middle of the 6th century BC. In the Urnfield period, sickles were one of the most numerously represented tools in hoards. In the Hallstatt period, their occurrence, or better said their number, is much lower. But taking into account the low number of hoards in general, it's still one of the most frequent items in the early Iron Age hoards from Slovakia. Different situation is, for example, in Moravia, where most of the hoards consisted of jewelry. Sickles are not present in burial grounds of the Kalendenberg culture in southwestern Slovakia, but they appear in graves of Lusatian culture, usually in graves of members of higher social class. On territory of the Hallstatt culture, the occurrence of iron sickles is in general low. The greater number of sickles from Smolenice Molpír, together with the presence of a large amount of iron blooms and slags, as well as tools for metalwork from the hoard number 4, are indications for their production already on the site. And it's also possible that from this site, these types of sickles, together with other items, had been exported to other regions. An iron sickle, similar to those from Molpír, was also present in a hoard of iron objects reportedly found in the area of the Lusatian hill fort Straník in Žilina, in northwestern Slovakia. Hoards with similar composition also come from southern Bohemia and are dated to the period of Hallstatt C till Hallstatt D1 or 2. The hoard number 1 from Molpír, which was discovered in the house number 2 in southern part of the Acropolis, consisted of parts of horse harnesses, a spare point or 2 axes, a socket one and locked axe, a sickle, and probably an iron wedge or ingot. This composition resembles richly equipped graves of men warriors appearing in the Rába region in the northwestern Transdanubia, such as Somlovásárhegy, Doba, or Vasár. Also, perhaps this hoard, as well as other ones with a sickle or one or more lacked and succeeded axes, can be seen as equivalents in the graves of male elites that are missing in Slovakia. On the other hand, the hoard number 2 might be interpreted in a different way. It's composed of 6 sickles and a bronze round object that is interpreted as a pendulum rattle. If we also take into account the fact that sickles appeared in such places like Bičiskala cave, it's possible to see the hoard rather in some religious or cult sense. And in this way, also a hoard from Letanovce Čertova Sihoť in northeastern Slovakia might be interpreted. It consisted of 5 iron sickles, but of the type that is widespread in the territory north and northwest of the Carpathians. In the hoards from Molpir, also several kinds of jewelry occurred, but the most relevant are fibulae. The occurrence of Šmarjeta-type fibulae is concentrated in a southeastern alpine area, from which they were spread to Transdanubia, southwestern Slovakia, southern Moravia, upper Austria, with the highest concentration in Hallstatt cemetery, and also to northern Italy. Regarding their occurrence, Michal Feldsan and Susan Stegmann-Reiter pointed out a very interesting thing, and that's the fact that there are only 3 sites in the whole area of the eastern Hallstatt culture where this type of fibulae was found in a number of 20 or more, and Molpir Hillfort is one of them. But unlike Hallstatt or Šmarjeta, which are burial grounds, Smolenice Molpir is a fortified hilltop settlement. So it's the hillfort with the highest number of this kind of boat-shaped fibulae in the given area. They occur rarely on other hillforts from Slovakia, and if, then only in a number of 1 or 2 pieces. They only sporadically occur in graves, but not in the burial mounds considered elite burials. And one Šmarjeta-type fibula was also a part of another hoard, but I'll get to that later. Another type of boat-shaped fibula is a bronze one with gridded transverse bands from hoard number 4. This type was concentrated in northern Italy and in the eastern alpine area. In Moravia, Slovakia, and Transdanubia, they appear only sporadically. Nevertheless, Molpir represents, just as for the Šmarjeta type, a hillfort east of the Alps with the largest number of this type. Opinion about the possible production of Šmarjeta type fibula at Molpir were expressed already 20 years ago, and there are more and more proofs that they really were made there. New detailed analysis of the fibulae from Molpir done by Michal Feldsan showed that there are several semi-finished products. Taking into account tools from the hoards, such as those used for more advanced metalwork, it's very likely that the Molpir became one of the centers where both types of boat-shaped fibulae were made or from where they distributed to other regions. The question of origin arises with another 2 fibulae. The boat-shaped one from the hoard number 4 has unusual ornamentation of the bow. It's not known from the hillfort nor other sites in Slovakia by now. The closest analogy comes from sites in Transdanubia, such as Velem or Kishravast. A bow of this fibula is decorated with triangles or in zigzag decoration on the sides, similar to the fibula from Molpir, but they do not have ornamentation in the middle of the bow. According to Maria Fekete, these fibulae are local variants. In the southeastern alpine region, this ornamentation occurs only rarely. Another fibula pointing to close connection with Transdanubia is the one from the hoard number 6. It's close to arch fibula with a ribbed bow or with a bow with incised decoration. Their concentration in Transdanubia, with a larger occurrence at the Willemstad Hillfort, indicates that these are local Transdanubian products too. It's hard to say whether or not the bow fibula from Molpir are imported from Transdanubia or they were made directly at the Hillfort according to Transdanubian design. But there are some semi-finished products from Molpir suggesting that they were actually produced there. Only about 2.5 kilometers away from Smolenice Hillfort, a hoard of 3 spiral bracelets made of bronze wire was found. Again, the exact finding circumstances are unknown. We only know they were found under the peak of the hill Záruby, which is the highest peak and dominant feature of the Little Carpathians. It's located in the Buková furrow, and in the past it was one of the most important strategically significant passages through Carpathians. The closest analogies to these bracelets are finds from Molpir. The hoard from Záruby is most probably linked to this hill fort and with the movement of people from it to Moravia region. Similar bracelets come from Bičiskala cave and even from the environment of the Platenice culture, where they were found in 2 hoards and even at the cemetery of Moravičany. In the hoard from Rýsov hill fort near Provodov and the hoard from a settlement in Prostějov Čechůvky, they were accompanied with other bracelets of different types and with glass and amber beads. These bracelets were until recently known only from central Moravia, which led to the supposition that they originated from there. But the finds from Záruby and Smolenice Molpir show that this type of jewelry also occur in southwestern Slovakia. And it cannot be excluded that they might have been made right in the Smolenice Molpir Hillfort. As I mentioned before, there is evidence of production of some types of metal objects at Molpir, and these are not only fibulae, but also closed bracelets with ribbing, and they occur in findings from Moravia together with spiral bracelets. In contrast to the most hoards of the Kalendenberg culture, the hoard from Sklabinsky Podzámok was found during archaeological prospection. It was located in the area of the Lusatian hill fort situated on the hill Klátová skala, approximately 40 meters north of the gate. The hoard consisted of different types of jewelry, fibulae, bracelets, and a lavish necklace composed of amber beads and spare plates, bronze spirals, and cowrie shells. The hoard is exceptional in several ways. First of all, is the first hoard of a set of female dress ornaments pointing to a super-regional connection not only from the territory of Lusatian culture, but also from the whole Slovakia. Allegedly, another hoard of probably women's jewelry, originally from the Balkans or the Lower Danube region, should come from Podskalie Veľké Skaly, which is not far away from this site, but unfortunately it's in private hands. Moreover, thanks to this hoard, consisting of 7 amber spacer plates and 1,613 whole amber beads and thousands of fragments, the number of Hallstatt period amber items from Slovakia rapidly increased. By then, only several amber artifacts had been known from a Molpir hill fort, and 1 or 2 amber beads are suspected to be present at the bow-shaped fibula from the cemetery in Špačince. More amber beads are known from the later period, namely from graves of the Vekerzu culture in Ždania, Chotín, Senec, and Bučany, but the total number of them is only about 550 pieces. The amber route leading through Moravia was the main route by which most of the amber was transported until the early 6th century BC. The hot from Sklabinský Podzamok might suggest that one branch of the road also led along the river Vách. Similar to amber, cowrie shells were acquired through long-distance trade, and they can be considered even more valuable commodities. Moreover, the necklace reflects not only the wealth of the person, but also the person's spirituality, as cowries have been commonly interpreted as amulets. Fibulae from this hoard are not common accessories for the costume of the Lusatian culture in Slovakia either. Bronze harp-shaped fibula was a typical part of female costume in the northeastern Hallstatt culture, with highest concentration in Lower Austria, Moravia, and eastern Bohemia. The boat-shaped fibula of the Šmarjeta type was, as I showed before, part of the costume in a southeastern Alpine area, from which it was spread through Transdanubia to southwestern Slovakia and southern Moravia. Also, the origin of the third fibula, the boat-shaped one, with incised decoration of alternating lines and zigzags and open bracelets with ribbing, can be connected with the southeastern Alpine region, where they occur at the cemeteries of Dolenska group. The presence of the hoard at the hill fort suggests the importance of the site located on the route leading along the river Vách. The hill fort has not been systematically excavated yet, but the leader shows that it was quite large with several ramparts. According to that, we can consider it as the site where the local elites resided. For a long time, it seemed that the Lusatian culture in Slovakia was more isolated, but it's becoming more and more evident that its contact with the Eastern Hallstatt culture could have been somewhat more intense. An example can be not only the hoard from Sklabinský Podzamok, but also the northernmost known find of the bowl-shaped helmet coming from its territory in northern Slovakia. The helmet is the kind of find that can be understood as evidence of supra-regional contacts, and the helmet was also shows also connections between hill forts of the Kalendember culture lying on the trade route and the presence of elites on hill forts. On Molpir, a hill fort, there were fragments of bowl-shaped helmets found in 3 houses, about 24 kilometers north of it. Another hill fort, Prašník Tlstá Hora, was situated. It's located in a strategic place on the northeastern edge of the Little Carpathians, protecting the entrance from Považie region to Moravia region. And from that side, a bronze decoration from helmet with conjoined calotte was found. Unfortunately, the site has been plundered by the detectorists, so we can only imagine what other artifacts might come from it. The hill fort was investigated just partially, but again, thanks to LIDAR, we have a better idea of its area and structure. Molpir hill fort was probably the main center that, together with other hill forts in Little Carpathians, such as Bratislava Hradný Kopec or Bratislava Devín, was patrolling or managing distant trade routes. And as it seems, the local elites benefited not only from it, but also from producing arm rings, boat-shaped fibulae, and probably sickles, and from their distribution to other regions, as it's indirectly documented also through hoards from Molpir and Záruby. Thank you for your attention.